Adam, we're back.
Ariana Dumbledore.
Adam Fourth Dumbledore. I listened to your close friends recap of your trip to London. And it was so funny because RJ was like, oh yeah, they have a couple of Kias. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
we do not have, like, I was like, why did he think Kia? It was so funny to me. I was like, I definitely said like Honda Fit. But we also, it was just extra funny to me because I was like, we had Hondas in LA as well. So like, we've always had that type of car make, like for as long as I've known RJ, basically. But then I had to text because Casey in that video was like, oh, I hate the Kias, blah, 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 blah. And so I messaged her and I was like, Casey, I do not have a Kia. I was like, just so I don't know where he got that. It was so funny. And it's so funny how like Michael does this too. This is a husband thing. RJ said it so confidently.
So confidently.
Michael will do that. He'll be
conviction.
like, yeah, it's right there. I'm like, it's not. I'm looking right there right now.
Yeah.
He'll be like, it isn't? I'm like, you just said it so confidently. Like, I just am like, how do you say it in that way? Like, I'm always like, I think it's over there. I think is how I'll say it. Like, I'm like, I think it's over there. And then like, sure enough, it will be there. Or I'll say like, oh, I saw it over here. But it's so funny. Why do those husbands do that, fellow wife?
Why?
We'll never understand it.
Never.
Adam, how are you? How is it going over there in Chicago?
It's good. We're, getting ready to head to my mom's for Thanksgiving. So,
Yes, it is the week of Thanksgiving.
That's exciting. I've already seen Wicked for Good.
I have as well. Oh my God. We should have opened with this.
I can't believe we didn't open with this.
I know. Hello.
Witches.
Clear opener. Witches. Well, Adam, I'm glad you enjoyed the Wicked film. It sounds like pretty much as much as I did. We were like, yeah, that was fine. I was like, I would watch Wicked 1 again multiple times. I don't know if I would watch Wicked 2 more than like one more time, maybe to look specifically for stuff.
I'm seeing it again on Friday because Mom got tickets.
With RJ?
With RJ and Mom and my sister Diana.
Did RJ see it with his family? Okay. So he will see it for the first time then as well. Okay. He must have seen all the spoilers because famously, guys, RJ doesn't know what happens in Wicked. Unless it was spoiled for him. Like a year ago. He doesn't pay attention anyway.
He doesn't remember. I mean, I think he's put it together by this point, but we've seen the musical. This is like Adam reading Harry Potter.
Yeah, he just doesn't remember.
Does any of this happen?
Yeah. He just doesn't remember from when he saw it all those years ago.
And speaking of which, I did not remember a single second of this chapter, by the way.
Of King's Cross?
Wow. I mean, like, I remembered there being this chapter, but I could not have told you a single specific about it.
Wow. Well, that's the perfect segue, Adam. Thank you so much. Because this week we read chapter 35, King's Cross. Adam, please, we are dying to know if you could please tell us what happened in this chapter.
Harry looks pretty good for a dead bitch in King's Cross, in a Heaven's King's Cross station.
The in-between. He's not, what is it called? There's a purgatory.
Purgatory. And Dumbledore walks him through the remaining questions the readers may have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the lingering must knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I remember
Tell us.
when I remember when hearing people be like, you could read this chapter. There are a couple ways you can decide to like think about this chapter, because this is probably the most ambiguous. It's left up to the audience to decide things for themselves, right? You can read this as Harry is in a limbo state, and it is actually the spirit of Dumbledore telling him all this information.
Mm-hmm.
You can read it as Harry's brain is going through all the information and disseminating, and this is all figment of his imagination. Or what I think is really interesting, there are people who think this is like Death disguising himself as Dumbledore.
Yeah, this is a
He's
real
having a conversation
theory.
with Death.
This
I
is a
don't think the
real
Death
theory.
thing holds water, but I do really like there's a part in it where Dumbledore's like, I mean, nobody really, like, probably Death didn't really create the Hallows. And I like the idea if it is Death being like, yeah, it's there's no way it's Death. That's not
her,
that's not
girl.
real.
Oh no. It's
That's
definitely
crazy.
not her.
That's not a real
No.
person. And I do like it in terms of like in regards to the original Tale of the Three Brothers, Harry greeting Death like an old friend. I like that idea. I think that's a cool idea. I think it's like, the one I least believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a cool idea. My guess is that Joe is just like, this is a state of limbo. That's why it's set in a train station. We're in the in-between. And it's supposed to be actually Dumbledore.
I
think for me, after reading the chapter, I think this is just Harry's brain working through everything. Because all of the things that Dumbledore says, I went through, like I read it and then I like skimmed through again. Mm-hmm. He doesn't give specific facts. So all of this is like, he's either reiterating things that Harry has learned already in this book or series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he like will explain logical explanations as to how or why he felt things or did things. But the fact Dumbledore doesn't share anything that's like new information. And the new information we do learn, which is like about like the wand breaking and stuff like that, like some of the questions we've had about things in this book specifically are like theories or just like ideas. They're not like hard, like it's like guesses is the joke at the beginning.
I had a thought because some of the stuff that Dumbledore in this Dumbledore in the spirit realm is talking to Harry about. I'm like, how would you know that though if you weren't like some of this? I felt like there were a couple things that I was like, but wait, wouldn't it only like if he had stuck around with Snape? Wouldn't he only know that? So AKA his portrait knows these things. So then I was like, does your portrait, like your spirit is connected to your portrait? Because I was like, some of that stuff he wouldn't know. Like the stuff with Snape or things like that. Like things that Snape was planning. I think it was after he had already passed. Like just the stuff that happened with the Death Eaters in the sky and all that. But he's like fully up to date. But then someone else might just say, oh, that's just because he's dead. And so he knows everything now. Like he sees everything from the other side. But I just always very much thought it was like because Harry had this deep connection to Dumbledore, when he is in the in-between, it kind of naturally summons Dumbledore to him. So I genuinely always thought that it was Dumbledore's like spirit and that that it was Harry's mind or whatever.
I think that's what you're supposed to read it as. From Joe's point of view. I think that's how
I never thought it was Death, but I like the idea of someone trying to pull a through line of Death. But I don't think she who must not be named is that clever, guys.
No.
That's not, she doesn't have that, you know? Yeah.
No.
So I was like,
I think I like the idea most of all that like this is Harry using his brain to its fullest capacity.
Yeah, the 100% brain power is present right now.
Yeah. And that he's so unconfident in his own mental ability, he summons an imagination of Dumbledore to explain things because he's like, well, I can't just say it myself.
And then is annoyed with him, Adam.
Yes.
And then is like, you're being annoying.
Yeah.
Right before he thinks of another question he wants to ask him, I guess. But yeah, anyway.
going back to the original idea of this podcast, I'm going to bring this up.
Oh.
Allie, who used to be a co-host with us.
Yeah.
Like, loved this chapter.
Yeah, I thought about that today.
And always was like, I want to talk about all the, like, philosophical ideas in this chapter.
Yeah.
Like, she would say that. So when I was reading it, I was like, I really want to go through and see if I can pull any out.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's a couple, but I didn't feel like there were that many because so much of it is like trying to explain things. So much of this chapter is bogged down by just being like, we have to tie things up.
The readers need to know the answers to these questions.
But we'll go through. Okay. Harry realizes that he exists still. He like has consciousness.
Yeah.
And also realizes that he is naked. Did not remember this part.
He's naked.
Do they do this
in the film? No, girl.
Okay, Daniel
he was
already
Radcliffe
naked in
like,
part 1.
I've already been. Yeah, he was like, I took off my shirt in part 1, y'all. Okay, I was walking around being my naked self.
Well,
for a bunch of
meanwhile, he's all in Equus right now. Like while they were like in between the two movies is when he was like doing Equus. But
oh my God, do you remember, Adam? I remember looking up those photos. Were we together when we
100%.
looked up those photos?
100%.
So funny.
Okay, so yes, he's naked. He's in this like white liminal space.
Yeah.
Great.
The void.
He hears
the void.
He's in the void, but it's
a
white.
Void.
It's not a dark void. It's a white void. He hears a noise that is like, I'll say like kind of like a child crying, but it's not. I mean, it's like its own kind of transmutated thing.
Yeah.
It's like uneasy. It sounds strange. It's weird, blah, blah, blah. So he hears this noise, and at this point now is like conscious of like, oh, I think you're supposed to think he's like, oh, there could be other things here. So now I'm like anxious that I'm not clothed. Yeah. Which I thought is very interesting because I think it's like a direct parallel to the Tree of Knowledge allowing Adam and Eve to be like, oh, we're fucking naked in the Garden of Eden. That's what it exactly reminded me of. But that's my Christian ass. He looks around. He's in a great, like almost like a room larger than the Great Hall. There's a big glass domed ceiling, but again, everything is like white. There's nothing really around. And he turns to where, he finds clothes. He dons some robes. And then he heads toward where the sound is coming from. And I'm going to read this section to you. It was quite empty. He was the only person there except for, he recoiled. He had spotted the thing that was making the noises. It had the form of a small, naked child, curled on the ground, its skin raw and rough, flayed looking, and it lay shuddering under a seat where it had been left, unwanted, stuffed out of sight, struggling for breath. Now, Ari...
Yeah, I don't like it.
Is this the baby that was left in the handbag in The Importance of Being
A handbag?
Handbag. That was
oh my gosh.
Because it's in a train station.
Yeah, true. It's so interesting with this because like I remember actually when I was a kid, it was the language the language used to describe this is understandably like upsetting. That's like the point.
Yeah.
That it's like you feel sorry for it because it's like it's a fate you wouldn't wish on anyone type of thing. And it's like the fact that it is like a small, looks like a baby, and it's just like I remember being like, oh gosh, it's horrible. But it's like, yeah, but like that's the point. Like that's the purpose of it. That it's like you can't do anything, and that's why it's so sad to see.
It's the weirdest thing in this chapter because it is remarked upon, but it is not dealt with. And it's like,
I mean, there's not. Doesn't he say that at one point? Doesn't Dumbledore say like there's nothing we can do? Yeah. It's just
And
sad.
because is it supposed to be like what's left of Voldemort's soul?
It's either I always interpreted it as it was what's left of his soul, or it's a piece of his soul. Like it's like that's why it's like small and yeah. In the movie, it's like the thing that gets dropped into the cauldron. It's that version of Voldemort, but all bloody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always interpreted it as it's either a piece of his soul or that's what's left. That's what he has left to work with. Because when we come, spoiler, but when we come back, it does seem that something has happened to Voldemort as well. I don't know if he's fully fallen over or what's happened, but something, him destroying Harry has like impacted him as well. So he, I think a part of him part of his soul was up there. I don't know if he was present like in the way Harry was. I doubt it because he's messed up his soul so much. But yeah, that's my theory anyway.
It's really weird. It's of all the books of all the chapters in this entire book series, this is like the most abstracted chapter. Yeah. So a lot of it is just like left up to interpretation, obviously.
Yeah.
And then this is when Albusy appears. He shows up in like midnight blue robes, being like, "Hello, gorgeous." He's in my head. He's wearing a caftan. He's not wearing a caftan, but in my head, that's like
that's Albus's Adam's version
form. Yeah,
yeah, caftan Albusy.
So he asks to walk with Harry. They walk around. And Harry's like, "Am I dead?" And he's like, "No, I'm pretty sure you're not. I think it's pretty clear that you're not dead." Okay.
Because here we are.
And now what Voldemort killed with his spell is like that remaining piece of soul that had stuck itself onto you. So now your soul is like fully yours.
Well, there we go. I think that's probably as much confirmation then as we're going to get in this chapter that what little piece we see there is that part of his soul then that was connected to Harry.
So Harry's soul is now completely his. It's wholly his. And now they sit down. Oh my God, when does he realize that it's King's Cross? Okay, that's later.
Close to the end of their convo.
So they sit down and we start going through the explanations, okay?
Yeah.
So Harry's like, "How come I didn't die?" So he asks Harry to think about it. And in reconjuring his form, Voldemort used Harry's blood, which Harry's blood itself is imbued with the property
of the protection
of Lily's
from Lily.
protection spell.
Yeah.
To which I want to say that Harry, you should have been donating blood for years. I'll just be honest. Like this is messed up that you didn't do that.
Harry, come on.
Harry, people could have not died.
Yeah, Harry, people could have not died.
So because he used Harry's protected blood to recreate his physical form, there is now another link that links the two of them together. So we have like soul link, ephemeral soul link.
Yeah.
And also literal physiological blood cursed whatever protection spell link.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the wand in a second. So because of that, while Voldemort lives, Harry can still live. Because
that's the part that I marked. That's the part that I marked because it says He took your blood, believing it would strengthen him. He took into his body a tiny part of the enchantment your mother laid upon you when she died for you. His body keeps her sacrifice alive, and while that enchantment survives, so do you, and so does Lord Voldemort's one last hope for himself. And I was like, I had to read it like multiple times to like decipher. She could have written it a more direct way, but basically, because he took Harry's blood, he will never be able to kill Harry.
Right.
Well, I guess maybe he could try to kill Harry again, but like now, if Harry kills him, he's definitely done for. Right? Like that's what. Now I'm questioning it again because of how it's phrased.
No, I agree.
What I mean?
It's really weird. I think you're right in that the idea
His
is
body.
supposed to be
Voldemort's body keeps her sacrifice alive.
Yes. So Harry didn't die because there is a piece of that protection spell that still exists in some
Voldemort.
capacity. And so that tether is what is making sure that Harry didn't actually die.
Okay.
So what I think is weird is like, I feel like most readers would have just been like, and then he just killed off the soul part, but Harry lived. But she like went through and was like, no, it's the blood. Blood, honey, the blood.
Blood, yeah. The blood, honey, the blood. The land, honey, the land.
The land. So that's gross.
Do you know who she reminds me of? Have you seen Weapons? That's who she reminds me of.
I haven't seen Weapons. Aunt Gladys, is that her name?
Yeah, she reminds me of Gladys. Yep.
So that's fine. I do think you're right in that I don't know if it's like there's no way Harry or Voldemort can ever kill Harry. But I think like in this instance, that's what kept him alive in order for his whatever. Mm-hmm. But then I don't remember how Voldemort dies. This is like the thing. I do not know how this next chapter happens because I am almost positive that Harry does not use the killing curse.
I don't believe he does.
I don't think he does. But I don't think he uses Expelliarmus either. I think that's crazy. So I don't. I think he's just like, and then just like in the movie, he just like.
I'm not going to say because I think I remember what it is, but I want you to be pleasantly surprised when you read it.
I hope it's like Alohomora or something. I hope it's like something really goofy.
What was the one we always used? Point me.
Yeah, point me. What was the it doesn't matter. Okay. Dumbledore says, Harry, you are the Horcrux that Voldemort never intended to make. You are the seventh Horcrux. When people get annoyed in fan spaces that people refer to Harry as a Horcrux, they can blame Joe Rowling for this. Because of this line, that's why people think this.
That's why people say it, yeah.
Yeah. She wrote it in the book, okay? Mm-hmm. He is technically not a Horcrux because he didn't do all the things he was supposed to do. There's supposed to be a whole ritual.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And this was we talked about this, I think, at one point in a previous chapter where I was like, so did he have to do something before he went there for Halloween or like?
She said, okay, so in the chapter, he says his soul, when he went and killed his parents and then tried to kill Harry that night, was so unstable that due to its instability, it fractured again in this like heinous evil act. And I think it's supposed to be that the heinous act is like trying to
murdering, right?
Like murdering a baby. Yeah. Okay. I think that's the crossing the line that had not happened thus far, which to me, I guess he's so evil that I'm like, oh, I'm shocked he hadn't gone that far yet.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Oh my God. There's so many notes I have.
We always knew this chapter was going to be this way.
I know. Dumbledore also says that which he doesn't value, he doesn't attempt to comprehend. So meaning like, think about it. House elves, love, loyalty, like these things that he can't find as a stepping stone to getting him to what he wants, he doesn't even care about learning about them. He's not interested.
Yeah. If it's not his special interest, he doesn't care, honey.
Mm-hmm. The connection between the two of them is twofold. Like I said, it's the soul and like the physical blood. And then at the end of book 4, when they had Priori and Cantatum happen, and like the wands fused together, they also literally fused together. So this is the girl. Okay.
This was a no. This was a no for me,
So when this
dog.
happened, which we remember as readers because the souls of the last like people he had killed came out, and they were like, "Go on, Harry, give it a go. Good
you
job,
got
buddy."
it, babes.
When that whole thing happened, because the wands are twin cores, but also because the soul and the physical bodies of the people holding the wands are both and separate but equal.
Separate but equal.
So because of that, the power of the spell then like what made Harry win that duel was his. Oh my god!
The wand.
Even trying to explain this is so insane.
Yeah, the wand is like recognizing that Harry is like the more pure of heart. That was literally how I was interpreting it.
Yeah, it's
like his intentions were the better ones.
It's like the explanation is like his. It wasn't. Let me try to find it. It's like something about how Harry knew that he could die. He had accepted that he could die.
Yeah, so he's
and Voldemort never could.
Yeah.
The cores reacted in a way that Lord Voldemort, who never knew that your wand was twin of his, had never expected. He was more afraid than you were that night, Harry. You had accepted, even embraced the possibility of death.
Yeah.
Something Lord Voldemort has never been able to do. Your courage won. Your wand overpowered his. And in doing so, something happened between those wands, something that echoed the relationship between their masters. I believe that your wand imbibed some of the power and qualities of Voldemort's wand that night, which is to say that it contained a little of Voldemort himself. So, your wand recognized him when he pursued you, recognized a man who was both kin and mortal enemy, and it regurgitated some of his own magic against him, magic much more powerful than anything Lucius's wand had ever performed. Your wand now contained the power of your enormous courage and of Voldemort's own deadly skill. What chance did that poor stick of Lucius Malfoy stand?
I just don't think that's enough for me. Like,
I don't understand it. I mean, like, also, I understand the words on the page.
Yeah. Yes. But we've known nothing about anything like this through this entire book series. We don't know anything, which, like, maybe that's the point. Maybe we're supposed to be like, oh, it's even Albus Dumbledore is like, I don't know. This is my guess. Yeah. My best guess as to, like, what happened. Like, yeah.
He says, like, earlier in the chapter, or at some point in the chapter, he says, like, your relationship is something hitherto never before seen. Like, up to this point throughout history, nothing has ever happened like this before.
Yeah. So and we're just supposed to be like, okay,
fine. I'm not even gonna. I'm really gonna take off the question mark hat of the chapter and more just like, I want to know what the fuck I'm reading. Because I don't. Fine. I guess I don't understand if Harry's wand won that battle in the Priori and Cantatum. I don't know how a piece of Harry's wand or how a piece of Voldemort's wand imbibed itself into Harry's wand. I guess is my question.
Yeah. It just like took on some of the I don't know. Because they had that connection, it was able to like absorb, what did she say? The power from that wand, the power and experience of that wand imbued itself into Harry's. But like, I mean, again, I guess it is just literally, we've never heard of something like this happening before, but that's like his best guess as to like what happened. And that's like, oh, okay.
So now there's three official connections. So there's the literal, there's the soul, the physical, and the magical.
Yeah.
So basically, all three parts of Harry and Voldemort are completely intertwined. There's no
at this point. Yeah,
them.
yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like by blood, by wand / magic, and then also on like a soul level.
By day one way, by night another.
What is that from? Is that from
Shrek.
Buffy? Oh, I was like, Buffy. It must be Buffy.
Harry asks, if my wand is so powerful, how come Hermione was able to destroy it? Which I'm like, you have to let that go, Diva. You have to let this go, Mama. This was months ago. Months.
Also, do you know what that means, bitch? Hermione's more powerful witch than you, so.
Yeah, Diva. Dumbledore's like, no, it wasn't just like now the most impenetrable wand in the world, but like if used against Voldemort, it was
like, I can take this bitch down.
Yeah. But then if it's Voldemort's magic, I don't understand why it would attack. It doesn't.
Yeah, you can't. We can't.
It's fine.
You can't go there, can you? Yeah.
It didn't. It just didn't. That's how it worked. It didn't do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's Harry's wand. It's loyal to Harry.
This is now when Harry has the Dumbledore asks where they are, and Harry realizes they're at King's Cross, and Dumbledore finds that rather funny, and then
Harry's like, well, where do you think we are, bitch? Harry's like annoyed
and he's
with
like,
him.
I don't know, girl. This is your dream. This is your party.
Yeah, your party, as they say. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay. I guess there's still a bit more. Never mind. It isn't at the end. It's like in the middle.
No, it's not. Oh no, there's plenty more.
It's in the middle.
So now we enter the Deathly Hallows part of the conversation.
Yes, right. Yeah, we haven't even gotten there.
This is when Dumbledore apologizes. He reveals that he had wanted to be the Master of Death, although it had eluded him. Harry tells him it's okay. He wasn't just like, because he says like, I was basically just like Voldemort. I was trying to be the Master of Death. And he was like, no, you were into something separate. Obviously, you've never tried to kill anybody. You wanted Hallows, not Horcruxes, da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that I think it's good that Dumbledore is like, that was silly of me, and I regret that. But I also think it's good that Harry is like, but you weren't Tom Riddle. Like, you weren't a young Tom Riddle. You were different.
I like that the chapter, there's like a ton of remorse you feel from Dumbledore, and that Harry like absolves him of that.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is why I also think it's interesting if it is just Harry working through it, being like, I just have to forgive this. I have to get past this. And maybe you should like just do some, what is it called in Stranger Things where she does the like, she goes into the void space in the salt bath or whatever.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh gosh, there is a term for that. Sensory.
There's a term. Sensory deprivation.
Sensory tank. Yeah. Sensory deprivation. Yeah.
So maybe, Harry, you should do these more often so you can like work through some of your own internal trauma that you've been neglecting to deal with for fucking years. Okay?
Maybe.
Because we know we're not going to get you to a therapist. But at least if you're going to conjure one in your own fucking mind to work through your shit, that would be fine. Okay?
Great. Yeah. Please, Harry. Talk therapy, Harry. You could really benefit from something.
Hello.
Maybe not even that. Something. Some form of therapy.
Maybe a lobotomy, Harry. Okay. Okay, this is when Dumbledore now starts talking about the past in regards to Gellert Grindelwald. He says that the Grindelwald came to Godric's Hollow because of the Peveril grave, Ignotus Peveril, and he admits that probably the Hallows were not created by death, but created by the three brothers, who were playing with like very dark advanced magic. He asks about her. He says he had the cloak because James had given it to him a few days before he passed away. And Harry says, like, well, they even if they had the cloak, they wouldn't have protected them. Like, it doesn't. It's not a shield. It's just like a invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
And his interest in the cloak was morbid fascination with the potential of it being one of the three Hallows.
Yeah.
And then he talks about his interest in the Hallows coming from a vain place of wanting glory despite his family situation. So, like, his dad being sent to Azkaban, his sister, his mom, like the whole, everything surrounding him, he deserved a better life because of how gifted and talented he was. He was in the depth program, honey.
The depth program. Yeah, listeners, Adam and I were in a program in 4th and 5th grade called the depth program, but people often would think that it was like, they would say, oh, they're the deaf kids, because people didn't know it was depth program. And then later I was like, oh, I did not know everyone thought that we were all deaf. Clearly we weren't, though. So I don't know why people believe that for as long as they did.
Have stood for something, but I could not tell you what it stood for. Develop
education principle something. Yeah, I have no idea. Development education
principle to hell.
Principle. Yeah, I don't know. Message Carrie. I gotta send Carrie Cannon a message.
Gotta send her a little DM.
Carrie, what did depth stand for after all?
So Dumbledore envisioned himself and Grindelwald and their friendship. They saw themselves as these budding. Bless you, says Ari. Dumbledore and Grindelwald envisioned themselves as revolutionaries, as these like heroic figures that were going to lead wizards out of being hid. Yes. Yeah. I do appreciate now.
They're Rogue One, Adam. They're Rogue One.
The Ariana storyline. Why Dumbledore would have this like thought of being like, we can't be hit. We shouldn't be hidden anymore.
Yeah.
And then Grindelwald
like used it to his advantage.
Uses it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of feed on each other. They feed on this like kind of like, we are geniuses.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this now, when you think back to that letter, it is quite different now, because it's like when Dumbledore is talking about like, but this is all for the greater good. It's like he's already kind of trying to address the things in Grindelwald that he sees as kind of like concerning. Because it's like you can, like before, I think obviously you don't have the context. You're just like, I can't believe he said that. But it's like in that, even though he is kind of buying into what Grindelwald is selling, he still is in their communication trying to be like, but we're only doing this because like we want to try and help our people, basically, is what he was trying to say.
They were basically mostly interested in the Elder Wand. That's what everybody's big interest is. Then they also wanted the stone. He says Grindelwald he tried to pretend he didn't realize, but Grindelwald wanted an army of Inferi. And while Dumbledore
that's a big old red flag, girl.
Dumbledore would have used it to bring back his parents, but in order to lift the responsibility of having to be like in charge of his family now.
Yeah.
And I think that's very nuanced and very interesting, and I actually find this whole explanation of Dumbledore very fascinating in this chapter.
Yeah. I also think think about being that age and suddenly like being in that situation where you have all these dreams for yourself. And like, I know he makes it clear that he's very ashamed for that, but I'm like, but when you're that age, it is so understandable that you are quite selfish because you don't have the perspective of like what really matters in life. But because Harry has such a different experience of like, he didn't have a family like dynamic that he kind of, I know obviously Albus's family dynamic wasn't perfect, but like there was at least some consistency that Albus grew up in where like Harry never had that. So I think there is a perspective that Harry automatically is going to be like, but I've never, I mean, we obviously we think Harry is selfish in certain ways of not sharing his money with the Weasleys, but like in terms of Harry being like the whole thing he said earlier in the book of like, but he's our age. They're the same age as us, but it's like, yeah, but Harry, your experience is so different growing up and having your parents taken from you by Voldemort and you've never met them is so different than like what Dumbledore experienced growing up. And so I think that's really interesting because I'm like, if there was a kid that was 17 and, someone's like, oh, you're so selfish. I'm like, yeah, that in a way they're supposed to be because they're a 17-year-old kid. Like, so they don't have the perspective. Like, I think people always talk about that of the whole, like, well, there's a quote, isn't there, of like, what is it? Something's wasted on the youth. What is it though? I can't remember what the word is. Something's wasted on the youth. It's not like confidence or courage or something, but it's something like that where it's just kind of like there is something.
Youth is wasted on the young.
Youth is wasted on the young. Maybe I thought there was another word, but maybe that was just because someone said it to me that it's kind of like that, like unapologetic. You just kind of go for it, like fly by the seat of your pants. Like you are able to do that more when you are younger. And as you get older, you kind of obviously like our brains are trying to notice like patterns and stuff that we need to be aware of and things that we need to be careful of. But then we become a lot more cautious. And yeah, I always think of that because I'm like, but you kind of want that like boldness that you had when you were a teenager now with the perspective or the hindsight that you have as an adult. But you can't really, it's hard to have both at the same time. Anyway. Continue.
Okay. Blah 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 blah. That was like their whole
blah,
goal.
blah, blah, blah.
They were least interested in the cloak.
Yeah, he was like, maybe we could use it to hide Ariana, but that was about all.
But that doesn't even feel like that was a suggestion from Grindelwald. That would have been like Dumbledore's idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dumbledore is like, we could use it to hide Ariana. Yeah, to Harry, he says that. Yeah.
This is when it says like, and so we hung out for those 2 months. And I was like, you did all this in 2 months? Girl, 2 months is nothing. 2 months is nothing.
Yeah.
She skipped sections of books of 2 months in like in
literally.
paragraphs.
Literally.
2
literally.
months?
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now we come to the big fight where Aberforth is like, you gotta cut this shit out.
Yeah.
The fight, which blows up to such an extent that it leads to Ariana's death.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
After Grindelwald flees and goes back to Europe, Dumbledore basically like does not allow himself to get anywhere close to power again.
Yeah, he's like, I couldn't be trusted.
He says he has asked multiple times to be Minister of Magic, and he refuses because he knows he's not good with power. Which I think is fascinating because headmaster of the only wizarding school seems like a lot of power. But maybe that's just me. Maybe being part of the
they're just children.
Maybe being
the
head of the Wizengamot
Dumbledore.
feels like a lot of power to me.
Dumbledore is like, this is Dumbledore for real. He's like, I believe the children are our future. That is him. He is Jenna.
That was
Jenna
him.
Maroney.
Yes, and then he says those best suited to power are those who do not seek out power. Meaning people like Harry, who it's thrust upon him.
Are we born with power, or do we have power thrust upon us?
It's so crazy too, because he says it's like basically right after his death and like Grindelwald leaves is when he brings up like they reached out to me multiple. He's a little bragging. He's like, they kind of reached out to me multiple times to be Minister of Magic, and I had to be like, no, stop. I don't want to do that.
Guys.
I'm not doing that.
Stop asking me.
Stop it. Which is so insane because you have to think about if he is telling the story chronologically, he's so young. If this is like now when they ask him for the first time to be Minister of Magic.
Yeah.
And also, still not really clear how the government works in the wizarding world. People are just asked to be the Minister of There's no party. There's no...
They're like,
that.
you just seem like the guy. So
who's decided? It's very strange. Very weird.
We'll never know. Maybe there's something on Pottermore.
I do not think the wizarding world is a democracy.
Yeah, I don't get that vibe either.
But I'm assuming she's basing it off of the British parliamentary system, which is like you still vote for parties, and then the parties, whichever party's in power, like selects one of their members as the prime minister.
Yeah, maybe that's what she's saying, that it's like, but then he still would have, is it just you have to be on the Wizengamot and that's it? It's just the Wizengamot.
I don't know.
Are you coming back up?
His big fear, more than anything, because he said, I was scared of Grindelwald, not in terms of my abilities, because he also does another brag here where he's like, I probably was a little bit
I could have taken him.
Better than
I
him.
was like obviously the more powerful.
Skill-wise.
I mean,
a little bit more
obvious
skilled.
it was me.
But he says that his big fear was like he would figure out, and I don't really understand how he would figure this out, but it was not clear who the one that had sent the curse that killed Ariana. Was it Gellert or was it him?
He knew it wasn't Aberforth.
I think the implication is that
who is sending killing curses out?
But that was my thing, is like
that's not what it was. It was just
all of them
spell.
were killing. Everyone was sending killing curses at each other.
Surely not. Surely it was just something that like set her off. Like, because that's what I'm like.
I wish that there was more explanation of like, you can't actually die from things other than the killing curse. The killing curse is just the most like effective.
Yeah.
Whatever instantaneous death that happens.
Yeah.
We'll never know. But finally, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I looked down at my thing.
It's okay.
But finally, he had put off dueling Grindelwald too long.
Yeah.
He had amassed too much power in Europe, and so he was like, I gotta go take care of it. I gotta go take the trash out.
I guess I gotta deal with this.
So he goes, he duels Grindelwald, and then wins his wand. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he doesn't kill Grindelwald, so he did just literally just take the wand, and that's how he won.
Won the wand through the duel, and that's all you need to do. Confirmation.
I thought the whole point of the Elder Wand was that you had to kill the owner of the wand.
No, so that is the thing. This chapter is where it confirms you don't have to kill them, and that was never a part of it, Adam. Wizards are just horrible. Man ruins everything, and they interpret it as, oh, we need to kill, and it's like, nope, that was never a part of the rule. If you just win the wand, but to your point, then it's like,
Isn't
okay,
just
so then
Expelliarmus winning the wand?
and it's only apparently the Elder Wand isn't all the other wands. Like you said, like anytime anyone disarms anyone, then it's like it's only with the Elder Wand apparently. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you.
Girl, I wish Joe knew, but I don't think she does either.
She doesn't. Yeah.
And then at this point, this is when Harry has the realization of like, oh, I now know what Dumbledore saw when he looked in the mirror of Erised and why he was empathetic toward what like why he understood why Harry was so reluctant to give up looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Meaning he probably also saw Ariana and he probably also saw his parents.
Yeah.
He didn't see his brother, who he could have just like gone to the bar and like seen whenever he wanted. Didn't seem like they had a great relationship, but that's fine. Didn't want to make those amends, I guess.
Aberforth. Oh, Adam Forth.
So this is when we talk about how Grindelwald later lied to try to say he didn't know where the wand was, and maybe that was some kind of Grindelwald to Voldemort.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, my brain was still thinking about Aberforth, and I was like, he did? Aberforth knew? And, okay, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah, Grindelwald was potentially trying to make amends later in his life by lying to Voldemort, saying he didn't know where the wand was.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. I think it was just him being like, Dumbledore. I don't, like, maybe are we supposed to believe that he still had feelings for Albus? And that's why, because he's like, I don't want anything to happen to Albus, because he couldn't kill him either.
I don't care about the whole they were gay thing. I truly couldn't give less fucks if I tried. I think, like, this is the only thing that I think does put a problem in my theory of, like, this being Harry's thought process.
Yeah,
this is the only thing that Dumbledore says in this entire chapter that is like a fact that is not just like, oh, thoughts or feelings, right? Ideas or feelings.
Yeah.
Is where he says, like, I had heard that later in his life he had like softened and like was remorseful about what he had done while he was in Nurmengard.
Yeah.
Whatever,
we'll never know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That is when we now talk about the ring, the Resurrection Stone ring. And in Dumbledore's haste to see it as the stone and not a Horcrux, that is why he slips it on. And maybe he thinks he'll be able to like see Ariana again or whatever.
Right. Right. I was wondering, because remember we talked about that we were like, how can it still be? But it was okay. Yeah. Okay. Great.
So, however, he doomed himself by it being,
which probably whatever enchantment was on the ring was like playing into that as well, I would imagine. Right.
And this is where he shares that, like, this is why Harry is the true worthy Hallows possessor, because he does not seek to defeat death or outlive death. He does not seek to not greet death, but he's like understands that he too must die at some point. Yeah. And that is why leading up to this, his use of the cloak to get to the forest, and then the use of the Resurrection Stone to have, you know, Lily and James and Sirius and Remus walk him to his death is like a more noble endeavor.
Yeah. I do like that. I do like how those all fit together, that it's like he uses the cloak to like willingly go. Who he summons isn't for like, I mean, it is for his benefit in that it's comforting to him, but it's only like just before the end. So it's not like he's taking them out of their heaven or what, them being on the
Right.
other side type of thing, like, which
Right.
I did like that.
Harry asks why Dumbledore had to make things so difficult. This is how Dumbledore responds.
Here we go.
I am afraid I counted on Miss Granger to slow you up, Harry. What does that mean? Let me read the rest. I was afraid that your hot head might dominate your good heart. I was scared that if presented outright with the facts about those tempting objects, you might seize the Hallows as I did, at the wrong time for the wrong reasons. If you laid hands on them, I wanted you to possess them safely. You were the true master of death, because the true master does not seek to run away from death. He accepts that he must die, and understands that there are far, far worse things in the living world than dying.
Miss Granger to slow
What the fuck did
you
Hermione's
up,
like, what did I have to do with it?
to slow you up in the sense of what she did, of this is just a children's story. Like, I'm like, what does he say, slow up or slow?
Slow up.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, because in the book, Hermione is the one who keeps being like, I think the Hallows are important.
Yeah. But then as soon as they go and see what's his name, she's like, oh no, it's just a kid's story.
I didn't understand. I don't know. It's just a lot of me just not really understanding what she's saying in this chapter, I'll be honest. I hope this chapter
our
recap
listeners,
is interesting for everybody.
Listeners, it's going to be so helpful to hear your thoughts on this chapter.
I'm very curious.
Yeah, because it's like, is that he's saying, like, she basically keeps him grounded in the, like, realistically, this is what we have to go off of. Because it's like, what he was saying with the Hollows is he was like, I didn't want you to know that you had them until the very end, right? When he's saying he wanted her to slow him up. That's what he's trying to say. So I'm like, okay.
But then my question is like, he didn't need the Hallows. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he was trying to give him one last advantage. If he could get him all the three things to be Master of Death, maybe it would help him. Like, have one final, I don't know, what would you call it? Like, way of being stronger than Voldemort, I guess, Yeah.
Yeah, and he says that his intention was to make sure Snape got the wand, which didn't really happen, but that's fine. I just like the line, he accepts that he must die and understands that there are far, far worse things in the living world than dying.
Yeah.
Beautifully stated.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true.
This is now when Harry's like, so Voldemort just didn't know anything about the Hallows. Yes, as we've already talked about, he wasn't interested in anything that didn't benefit him explicitly. That's why his only interest in the Elder Wand was recent due to circumstances surrounding
wands.
Harry, the wands connecting, and then the wand exploding, and da.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he heard that there was this, like, magical, to say magical wand is funny, but, like, advanced
all-powerful wand.
All-powerful wand out there, that's why he, like, set his sights so wholly on ensuring, because it's a way to mitigate any liability he had when he had to take Harry down.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he wanted Snape to end up with the Elder Wand. That didn't happen. That didn't really work out. Poor Sevy.
Sorry, R.I.P. Doesn't say anything about Snape being dead, does he?
No.
There's no conversation about, I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember it, though. Like,
but
I didn't remember a part where he did mention him.
After they talk about Severus, just that one line, the creature behind them jerked and moaned. That's so weird.
Oh! Yeah, Severus. Snivelous.
So then after this, there's just a few minutes of them sitting in silence, and then Harry's like, I have to go back. Dumbledore explains that it's a choice if Harry wants to go back or not. And he says, Dumbledore says, if you choose to return, there is a chance that he may be finished for good. I cannot promise it, but I know this, Harry, that you have less to fear from returning here than he does. Harry glanced again at the raw-looking thing that trembled and choked in the shadow beneath the distant chair. I think that is supposed to be what's the last part of his soul that's left.
Yeah. Well, other than what, Nagini, the thing that's attached to Nagini.
Right. Yeah.
And then whatever last piece is left in him. But yeah, this is definitely the piece that was attached to Harry. So another piece has been,
gross.
Destroyed.
And then this is probably the best line in the whole book. Probably the series.
Oh,
do not pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living, and above all else, those who live without love.
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
By returning, you may ensure that fewer souls are maimed, fewer families are torn apart. If that seems to you a worthy goal, then we say goodbye for the present.
Yeah.
And then he finishes, Harry asks him as he goes to leave, and he asks him, was this real or was this in his head? And Dumbledore says, even if it wasn't his head, doesn't that mean it could be real? And that's the end of the chapter.
Mm-hmm. What is he? The way he says it, though, where's the... Hey.
722.
Oh, yeah. Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry. But why on earth should that mean that it is not real? And I love the phrasing of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite quotes in Harry Potter probably are between the one that you said about do not pity the dead, Harry, pity the living, and above all else pity those without love. And then
always
no the time must come between or the time must come when we all must decide between what is right and what is easy. And then the what is the other one? There's one more.
I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed or worse, expelled.
I think it's different in the book. There's some type of quote about like happiness can be found if one simply remembers to turn on the light or something like that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That might only be from the movie. But that is so the quote about like so again, sorry to take it back to grief, but I think when you experience grief, you really do realize like for me, it was in a comforting way, because obviously the way that our dogs both left us was in such a situation that was so painful to see them for us in, but physically painful for them. And I realized, unfortunately, a lot of times that is how someone leaves this world, because their body can't continue. So it is quite like it's from a physically traumatic type of experience. And I think for so long I had such a hard time with that with both of our dogs, that it was like, oh, but I hated that was like, it was so bad in the end, you know, because of course you don't ever want to see a person or an animal that you love so much in like that much pain. But what I would always say to myself, and like Michael and I would talk about it afterward when we would feel sad, because I obviously felt like a lot of guilt, because it was like we kind of tried to do a lot to save them, but it just like wasn't enough in the end, in terms of like we did everything the vets told us we could do, but it just like didn't have the result that we wanted. So we had to make the difficult decision to let them go. But it was comforting for me to be like, they aren't in pain anymore. It's painful for us because we are here in the physical world that they've left. So for us, we have the guilt, the memories, the you know, memory of that happening, and it's sad for us. But they're like at peace, and they're like fine now. So I would always like try to tell myself that. And so I love that quote, because it's like, yeah, don't pity the dead, because like they are free of pain and they're like at peace. Which I know obviously everyone has their own different beliefs, but I just very much believe that like when we pass on from here, we are like just at peace, and we understand things in a way that we never would be able to here on Earth, blah, 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 whatever. which I guess basically is heaven, you know, like people say heaven or whatever. But yeah, I just feel like it's painful here because we have the memory of it, or we're in the world where it's like, I don't know. I think the world is quite a difficult place sometimes, you know, especially right now. It feels like the world is just like on fire in more ways than one constantly. So I think the state of the world and like being here is what is painful, but like past here or like in the beyond, I don't think it would feel that way. I hope. Yeah. I would hope not anyway. That's I choose to believe that. But yeah. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I think it's I'm trying to remember when I was reading this book for the first time, and obviously I think a lot of us were so happy that like we did get this scene with Dumbledore.
Could you imagine if this was Voldemort explaining like, well, Harry,
in a mask, and he just takes off, like he just like rips off like Dumbledore's head. I was always so upset that because at the beginning of this book or at the end of the last one, he thinks of something that he wishes he would have asked Dumbledore, where he developed his love for lemon drops or something that, which was such a silly, not meaningful question. But I remember being so upset with her that she didn't think
bring that back
to like in the last moment to be like, oh, sir, can you tell me why you love lemon drops? Like, just I would have loved for him to ask Dumbledore like a very simple, earnest, lighthearted question like that after all of this like quite intense, basically telling the reader all the things that they need to hear before the story is done, before we wrap up the story. But yeah, I remember that was
because next week's the last chapter.
Yeah, last chapter, and then good old epilogue.
Epilogue, which is obviously separate. Like the last chapter of this story is next week. The epilogue is a separate, like, whatever. We're gonna talk about that. That's gonna be a long episode as well. But like, that's so crazy. She's just like, and then they talk, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Done.
I know. I am excited to read that because I feel like I remember that chapter the least. All I remember is Molly Weasley saying like, you bitch.
Not my daughter, you bitch.
Yeah, not my daughter, you bitch. And Bellatrix, she done so. I remember it's very different. Like the showdown is very different. Voldemort and Harry are like surrounded by everyone, where in the movie it's literally just him and Voldemort. So
and then they fly for 5 minutes or whatever.
And there's that weird shot where Harry's head morphs with It's so weird. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Yeah, there's some choices were made, shall we say.
Choices.
But yeah, thank you, Adam. That was beautifully recanted. Oh no, recount. Recant your tale. Recant this chapter. A beautifully recounted chapter. That wraps up this chapter. Next week, we'll be reading chapter 36, The Flaw in the Plan. We have a comment from Nick D'Ambrosio. Is that how you would say Brosio? Yes, more books. We love you two. Keep going. Oh, I love that you guys like are so, you are all very vocal about us continuing. That is so sweet. We thought it was going to be like, everyone was like, oh, thank God.
Thank God this is
Thank God we've got to the final book. Gosh, so sick of hearing these two chatter. Thank you for your comments, guys. We love hearing what you guys think. I cannot wait to read. Truly, I genuinely mean this. I cannot wait to read your comments on what you think about this chapter,
especially from this chapter.
Tabby Martha, I'm looking at you. Paper Star Girl, I'm looking at you. But obviously, everyone else as well. We love you all. Paper Star Girl, Tabby Martha, and Adam and I just somehow all share one. Our last remaining brain cell is shared between
we all are connected. Yeah, we all have our soul is in each other.
Yeah,
our blood
thought
is
process on these every single chapter of these books is You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel and Spotify. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score. 5 stars only, or else you will have to
Be
just
a gross baby.
I was going to say, you have to sit next to that nasty, gross baby. But yes, or you will be it yourself. Bleh.
Bleh.
Gasping and sputtering and all that mess. That sounded like the Tasmanian devil to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HBAnxious or YouTube at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Spotify for podcasters, so thank you to them and are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Check them out at theampliverse.com because it's got a brand new, stunning website design, y'all. Go take a look. You can see some other exciting projects that we have in the works on there as well. Yes, I think that is all. Adam, any last thoughts for our friends before we sign off today? We're so close to the end.
Go with God.
Not that.
Recant your sins.
Recant your sins before your meeting with Dumbledore on the other side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Adam, very much.
I will say my heaven is for sure a train station.
Adam's heaven is 100%, and it could even be King's Cross specifically glowing, or it might maybe if is there a beautiful train station in Paris? It might be that.
Gare du Nord.
Oh, okay. And as always, nuns.